My pleasure to come your way again on Business Live. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafi. In today's edition, Registrar General's Department starts implementing provisions of the Companies Act requiring businesses to renew their final annual reports and also renew their licenses or face sanctions. Some farmers in the Ashanti region expressed dissatisfaction with new cocoa producer price, which has been increased by 11.6%. But Agri Information Services Organization ISOCO says it is a perfect balance between farmers' demands and government's ability to pay. And also, barely 6 years of oil and gas production in Ghana, some stakeholders require more transparency in the management of oil and gas revenues to maximize economic benefits of Ghana's oil and gas resources. Details of these and other stories coming your way in the next 25 minutes or so. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafi. You can stay interactive with us by tweeting your comments, suggestions, questions at Joy Business GH. And on Facebook, we are on Joy Business. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Take a quick break. I'll be back.
Business Live today is brought to you by GCB Bank.
You're welcome back. Now, the Registrar General's Department has started implementing provisions of the Companies Act, which requires businesses to renew their businesses and file their annual reports in their last financial year. The department last week set Monday, October 3, as a deadline for companies to comply or be made to pay a fine of 300 Ghana cedis every day of default, in addition to 50 Ghana cedis fee. This is also to ensure the records of companies operating in Ghana are captured in the new electronic database. The Acting General Registrar General Jimama Owari advised companies against paying their fines to unauthorized persons at the premises.
Sound this caution and this warning, please. Don't pay these penalties to anybody in the office to pay it for you. Please don't. I don't want anybody to come and say that somebody has ripped me of any money. Please. If it happens after 3rd October that you haven't filed your returns on time and therefore penalties have caught up with you, please try and pay that money to the bank yourself. Make sure you collect your receipts. No, we have an on-site bank. Fidelity Bank is on-site. Don't go pay any monies to anybody, please, because that's a lot of money. The system is going to calculate for you. Those who have been re-registered or have been updated into the new database, the system will calculate the fee because they know that you're supposed to be filing returns maybe for this year. That is just 50 Ghana cedis. So each day that the default continues, 300 cedis is slapped on you.
Reports reaching us indicates that many businesses are thronging to the premises of the Registrar General's Department to comply with the latest demand of the Registrar General. Moving on, government over the weekend announced an 11.76% increase in the producer price of cocoa for the 2016-2017 farming season. This means farmers will now receive about 475 Ghana cedis for every 64 kilos of cocoa beans instead of 425 cedis per bag. The producer price of the ton of cocoa has also gone up from 6,800 per ton to 7,600 Ghana cedis per ton for the 2016-2017 cocoa season. The new price was announced by the Deputy Finance Minister Kesiel Atoforsen at this year's Cocoa Day in Tepa, the Ashanti region.
Last year, the average free on board per ton of cocoa was sold at $2,900. This year, it went to $2,950 per ton. According to the Deputy Minister of Finance, this represents a change of 5.7%. He says the change in price is higher than the change in world price of cocoa and higher than that of Ivory Coast.
2016-2017 cocoa season. And as compared to the previous season, this amount represents an increase in price of 800 Ghana cedis per ton, or 11.76%. This figure translates into 475 Ghana cedis per bag of 64 kg gross weight, up from 425 per bag, representing 77.45% of the net FOB price.
The Deputy Minister also spoke about the Ghanaian economy that has displayed remarkable resilience against significant shocks.
In recent times, giving confidence to investors, thanks to the vigorous implementation of our own homegrown economic policy, together with the IMF and other international partners, this economy has been placed firmly on the path of recovery and growth.
The Chief Executive Officer of the Ghana Cocoa Board, Stephen Opuni, spoke about some challenges confronting the sector.
The challenges confronting the industry in Ghana include, but not limited to, declining soil fertility, aging cocoa farmers, overaged cocoa farms, lack of interest by the youth to go in cocoa farming, climate change, swollen shoot virus and other pests that attack cocoa farms, and illegal gold mining activities. Nana Chairman, I would like to assure everyone that Ghana Cocoa Board, with the support of government, will continue to support our cocoa farmers to address these challenges.
Meanwhile, some farmers in the Ashanti region are, however, not pleased with the new percentage increment in cocoa price per bag. They say the figure should have gone up between 500 and 600 Ghana cedis due to the increased cost of money invested into the sector to control pests and diseases.
Small for me, because look at the school fees, look at how you buy this and chemical to spray your cocoa. The price is so high. So because what I know is that if the price is going to about 5.5, and we accept it.
Cocoa last year, you do you cocoa
the price is not encouraging. We invest heavily into our farms, but what we get at the end of the season is not good. Cassava and plantain farming appears to be more profitable than cocoa.
So, and watch it, Banchi, Bokra, this year the season, the Hamatan season killed our cocoa. So if you start from now, you put your child into farming with 8 years time before the cocoa, you're starting to cut the cocoa. But now the price is less. If you are charging,
basically you are not satisfied with the new price
at all.
We were encouraged to join cocoa farming because of government incentives, but today the situation is different. The price being offered is way too low.
And in an interview on the Marketplace, content manager of Agric Information Services Organization, Isoko Ghana, Francis Ajay, reflects development on the world market. He says the current producer price reflects development on the world market. According to the content producer, a bag of cocoa is a balance between what farmers are demanding and what government can actually pay.
From the farmers' point of view, they spend so much and then they need to get money from their work. Now we say that farming is a business. There is no more a way of life where we use those old ways of doing things again. And then from the government point of view, they also think that they are also seeing other things within the sector that is helping the farmers. And then they also need to get some kind of money from that sector to also compensate from the amount that they are spending. So that is why I'm saying that for both of them, they all have the arguments that in support of whatever point they want. Ghana's price is a little higher than that of Côte d'Ivoire. But also, so in terms of, if you look at the face value, we may not have a lot more people sending our cocoa to Cote d'Ivoire because of the seemingly slight higher prices that they are getting in Ghana as to the ones that they will get in Cote d'Ivoire when they send it to Cote d'Ivoire.
It's still live on Business Live, and barely 6 years of oil and gas production in Ghana, and the public is yet to derive maximum benefits of the industry. The debate is still going on whether priority areas to which the annual budget funding amount, that is the amount of petroleum revenue that goes into financing selected projects under the budget, is really yielding the desired results. Some industry players insist transparency in the use of resources remain key.
You have to look at your absorptive capacity. Absorptive capacity is basically your ability to be able to spend the revenues that you have. When you are overwhelmed with resources, say you, for example, if you are given $100 million today, I tell you, you're not going to manage it properly because you do not have the absorptive capacity to manage it. Maybe you will start to go on cruise liner holidays, etc. That is what maybe you will start to go and say, look, I'm going to buy the most expensive car. But that might not be the right thing to do. So transparency and accountability are really, really critical. When you have more revenues, there's a tendency for greed to come in. There's a tendency for corruption. And I mean, there's a report on the BBC that the Parliament of Nigeria is investigating $7.1 billion of stolen oil money. Why is that? Because you still have oil contracts in secrecy. How many African citizens know the contract terms in the PSAs that we have? How many Africans can even understand, even if they have access to it, can even understand the technical language? And the question about environmental protection as well comes in there. Transparency is not just about fiscal. It's also about telling the people the inherent challenges in exploiting these minerals. What are the social and environmental protections? Are we telling our communities? Are we involving our communities in these discussions?
The United Kingdom has stopped funding projects and programs that government wants to undertake. The UK over the years has been one of the biggest donors of development aid and budgetary support to the country. The disclosure is coming after a similar move by the EU recently. Its head of delegation, William Hanna, last week told Joy Business that the union now wants to focus more on sector-specific programs. UK's High Commissioner to Ghana, His Excellency John Benjamin, tells Joy Business the decision was mainly due to Ghana's new status as a low-middle-income country.
Been reclassified as a lower middle income country. It's no longer a least developed country. Ghana's economy is still growing, and direct budgetary support to the government is no longer on the cards because the government of Ghana is expected to raise its own revenue to provide its own basic public services. But we still provide technical assistance. We still support the private sector, particularly small and medium enterprises, to grow and develop so that they can become the motor of employment creation and growth in the future. And the nature of the aid program is changing, and it has to change over time.
It means that with more of technical assistance, you're not going to see any general budget support from you.
I think that era has come to an end, and of course if Ghana's economy under any government continues to grow 4, 5, 6, 7%, then 10 years from now it will be such a much bigger economy that it shouldn't be needing a huge amount of aid. And President Mahama said himself in New York last week that what actually African countries need is not more aid but trade, because ultimately it's trade that creates the jobs, that creates the space for the economy.
This is Business Live. We're taking a short break here. When we come back, it'll be time for stock analysis with our reporter Beta Atubiga.
Business Live today was brought to you by GCB Bank.
Thank you very much for staying. Welcome back to Business Live. Now it's now time to take a look at the stock market and how the equities and of course the commodities as well as the currencies are faring on the market. And to do so, Beta Atubiga, our research analyst, has joined me right here in the studio to tell us more. Beta, good evening.
Yeah, good evening, Emmanuel.
Now give us a retrospective look at what the stock market was like last week before we come to today.
Okay, thank you very much for having me. But last week, the stock market, as the major indices, actually declined very marginally. The decline was very marginal. It went down by 0.01% each for the composite index and the financial stock index. And then the composite index closed at negative 11.03% year-to-date returns or average returns for all the listed equities on the stock market. And then the financial stock index closed at negative 12.82%. That's for the financial stock index. That's the financial and banking equities on the stock market.
The total,
the average value, the average return currently on the stock market. And if you look at as a close of last week, we had about just 4 equities returning positively from the beginning of the year till date. To investors, that's the individual equities. FML happens to be the top equity in terms of returns. It has returned 33.03% to investors from the beginning of the year. It started around 7 cedis 10 pesos per share, and it's now trading at 9 cedis 78 pesos per share. And even today, when we spoke to the brokers, it's possible that FML might even go up to 9 cedis 80 pesos per share before the close of this year, or even 10 cedis per share before close of this year. GCB is also returning positively to investors. It's 3.96%. We have SIC returning 7.14%, and then FML, like I said, returning 33.06%. Standard Chartered Bank preference share is also returning positively to investors. Aside these equities, all other equities are returning negatively to investors. CPC is a low-priced equity. It was trading as 1 peso per share. Last week, it gained 2 pesos to close, 1 peso to close at 2 pesos per share, and that was a change of 100%. So if you're looking at the relative change, it will be the highest. But
that's CPC.
That's CPC. Okay. Last week it added 1 peso to investors, so that was 100% change. Okay. And when you look at the year-to-date return, definitely it's going to be 100% because that's what it has actually reflected. But the change is not as significant, and even the price of CPC is not. CPC is not an active equity on the market. Okay, it's not very active in terms of pricing, in terms of its market cap is not large. So even this change, a drop in it will have it going down by that margin as well.
What about the performance of some of these oil marketing companies? Are they still doing
Total and Gulf are losing. Let me not put it that way, because Gulf on the average is doing better than Total. But we look at Total Nigeria for the past 2 weeks or last week, almost every single trading day, it added up to investors' capital. That's Total Nigeria. But in Ghana, we've seen it losing some margins on its previous share quotes. And as of last week, Total lost 10 pesos of its share price, and Gulf lost only a peso of its share price.
Any particular reason for that?
Well, you can say that for Gulf ended a rights issue some time back, and we saw that affecting the share price of the equity. So we saw the share price of Gulf actually declining, and for the past 2-3 weeks, we've seen that fluctuating in the share price of Gulf. It goes up, then the next time we see it going down, and that you can attribute it to market dynamics, that's demand and supply on the exchange. And then you look at Total on the other hand. Total is not, you can actually trace Total to its fundamentals. Look at the fundamentals, that's your financials for first half, that's first half of the year, first quarter. You realize that it's not as impressive as that of Gulf. And when you look at the price difference, and you look at even liquidity of these two equities, how marketable they are on the exchange, Gulf is always doing better than Total on the exchange. But that does not mean that Total is a bad equity or is not a good equity. You know, when prices are falling, that's the best time to take advantage of. When the market is in its bullish state, trust me, most of these equities that are returning negatively to investors will also bounce back, especially if their betas are high. That's when I'm talking about the beta, I'm talking about how they respond to the change in the market. If you have a high beta, it means that when the market is going down, you go down as well. But when your beta, you're responding positively to the market trend or dynamics on the market. But when your beta is very low, that means that it doesn't really have that much. You don't respond quickly to the changes in the market. Especially that's a composite index.
What equities should investors be looking out for or be targeting this week as we've entered?
Okay, this week we're looking at EBG. Ecobank Ghana, yes. Ecobank added a peso last week to investors, or 2 pesos to investors last week. We're looking out for EBG, we're looking out for SIC, and we're looking out for FML. FML still has this room, though the price is very high, but it's one equity that investors can look out for. But today's market, we didn't see much. Only 2 equities moved on their previous share prices, but the volumes actually went up as compared to, let's say, Friday's trade.
2 equities, which are these equities?
Alurex went up by a peso to close at 14 pesos, and UT Bank, which gained a peso last week, lost that peso drop today. And it has gone back to 5 pesos per share. UT Bank has dropped significantly.
I mean, maybe you wouldn't have much on the commodities today, but government has increased, the producer prices of cocoa per bag. Now, some farmers are saying that it should have gone up further or more.
More than what?
What do you think of the price on the international markets, cocoa price on the international market? Is it doing well? Is it fluctuating? Is it
let me put it this way. There were speculations, especially in the cocoa producing areas or regions in the country that prices of cocoa was going to fall. And truly, within that week, when I monitored the commodity market on Bloomberg, prices of cocoa were actually falling. But lately, we've seen that pick up in the prices of cocoa on the international market. So it is possible, if they are saying that the margin is not wide, probably they are looking at the margin on the international market and the margin that has been added locally, then the difference is not that significant or something that they can actually talk about or as an improvement. But I think that the fluctuation has not been much, but this time we should expect some positive movement on the prices of cocoa on the international
thank you very much, Bertha. That will be it for
welcome.
today, and hope to see you on Friday to see how the market concluded.
Sure.
Thank you. And that was Bertha Atubiga, stock market analyst. Chief Executive of Dalex Finance, Ken Thompson, has cast doubts over government's ability to tackle the public debt in good time to the benefit of the economy. As of July this year, the country's total debt had hit 110 billion Ghana cedis, representing about 66% of GDP. Government has downplayed suggestions this is due to new borrowings. It rather maintains these borrowed funds are invested in infrastructural projects that are self-financing and so should result in a significant reduction in the debt levels by the end of the year. But Mr. Thompson tells Joy Business that this might take a long time given the projects in question.
About 70%, our debt is considered to be unsustainable. Well, the government has done quite a few things. It says it's done projects, and these projects are long-term projects. So we've got to see whether or not these projects will provide a certain return to pay off these debts. But these projects are in areas such as education. There are areas that maybe a few roads. And what I've said over and over again is that the investment should be in agriculture. Stop everything, invest in agriculture. I don't believe that building another 20 or 30 schools is what's going to give us that income to pay for the debts that we have now. I don't believe that. The investment should be in agriculture. The investment should be in reviving the real sector of the economy. And the real sector of the economy is the one that produces goods and services. And the area where we are competitive, we have competitive advantage, is agriculture. And that's where the investment should go.
And it's a wrap on yet another edition of Business Live. Thank you very much for your company. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafi. You can stay interactive with us by tweeting at Joy Business GH and by Facebooking Joy Business. For more business news, log on to myjoyonline.com/business. Meanwhile, catch me again at 7 p.m. on Joy News Prime for some more developments in the world of business. My name is Emmanuel Abuaji Riafi. Good evening.